Disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct.
What's the deal, guys? This is Disorderly Conduct. I am Disorderly Conduct, and I am back with another episode. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe if you are watching this. Thank you for the love, for the hate. It's all support, you know what I'm saying? And also, if you haven't already, make sure you tune into episode 2 of Disorderly Conduct. We talked about ending the gender wars. We talked about red pill being harmful to the community. We talked about black men in dresses. We talked about being pro-black and interracially dating. So if you haven't already, make sure you go tap in with that. Again, like, subscribe, show love. Thank you for the love, the hate. It's all support. I want to start off with a little bit of just inspiration and a little bit of good words to people. Help yourself before helping others. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds selfish, but I'm a firm believer of you can't really be of service to people until you've been of service to yourself. You can't really help people until you've helped yourself, whether that be financially, emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever the case is. You're unable to provide the help necessary that people need until you help yourself. So a lot of us never reach new heights because we're too busy helping others to where by the end of the day, you didn't help yourself or you feel guilty helping yourself, right? And so we have to do a better job at helping ourselves first. You have to be selfish. And I know that's hard to hear, but it's the truth because you don't want to look up and have provided help to everybody else or half-ass help to everybody else. And then what have you done for yourself? So this year and years after that, it's about being a little bit more selfish, prioritizing your time a little bit better, auditing your groups and your situations better, ultimately helping yourself. You know, a lot of us, we're somebody's punching bag, right? When people want to come and vent and give us their traumatic experiences and what happened at work and who pissed them off and cut them off on the road, etc. We're that person that they come to dump on. But you got to start helping yourself first before you can help people. Are you really ready to hear those things? If not, then you got to start being more selfish, letting people know, hey, I'm not ready for that. Or before you tell me, ask me, am I ready to hear that? Am I ready for the trauma to be dumped on me? Because a lot of us, we haven't helped ourselves. So then we give out bad advice. A lot of us do that. We do that with relationships, money, fitness, a lot of things. That's why I'm saying it's so important to help yourself first before you go and help others, because you want to make sure you're providing the right help. You don't want to lead people astray or lead them in the wrong situation because you're not up to par yet. And I think a lot of us think we are, but we're not. So I wanted to start that off, just a quick little, piece to people. Help yourself before you help others. I want to be, when somebody asks for help, I want to be the best version of myself that I can be, so I can provide them the best version of help that I can. Right. So as you guys know, I want to switch topics. This month, February, is Black History Month, right? And so I just want to touch a little bit on Black History Month, and I want to touch on some of the people that have paved the way for us. You have people like Marie Von Britton Brown. She was a black woman who co-created the home security system. You have George Washington Carver. He was somebody who, found over 300 ways to use peanuts, who helped, figure out the cotton situation. You have other people. You have black men who have built the three-way stopping system that we use, the stoplights. You have a black man who created the first color PC screen. Right. So we have all of these examples within our community. And I just want to take a little bit of time to, shine a light on Black History Month and shine a light on our people that have came before us and have helped us. I also want Black History Month to be a reminder that if you're not on your shit as a black person right now, which to say that, I'm saying that you should be on your shit. You shouldn't only want to be black and proud during Black History Month. But if you get anything from Black History Month, I hope you get the motivation and the fire inside of you by looking at the greats that have came before us. I hope you take Black History Month as a mirror, as something to look at and say, okay, I can do that too. I can do better than that. So I hope that's what Black History Month is doing for Black people. Not only are you being prideful in your culture, but you're taking these examples that you've seen throughout the past and the present, and you're taking gain from it, soaking up knowledge, and you're using that and you're applying that in the real world. Because too many times we don't. You know, we sit around and, man, we need to get out of our situation and we need to get out the hood. And okay, well, here are all these examples of how to do so. Now go put in the work and go follow these examples to make sure you reach new heights. You know, I think that this month can be good for us. A lot of people talk down on Black History Month. It's the shortest month of the year, you know, and I understand that. But again, we have to take it and use it to our positive advantage, not our negative. And so just look at everybody and then look at yourself. During Black History Month, are you an example for Black people? You know what I mean? Or could you be doing better? If so, then step it up, because you had Black Americans that were 21, 22, 25, doing great things in society for our people. I feel like the last 70 to 80 years, we have done a lot. But now we're at a point in the community where we seem like we have plateaued. I feel like we're not gaining any new information. We're not being more educated. We're not becoming financially responsible. We're not becoming healthier. And I want people to stop for a second and look at the people that have came before us, specifically in this month being Black History Month, and then think about today's time. Are we really where we're supposed to be? Do you think our forefathers would have expected us to be right here? I mean, I don't think they could have imagined in their wildest dreams us being able to, you know, be integrated and interracially date and have some of the same opportunities financially that everybody else does. But then I also would think that our forefathers would look at us and be ashamed. I think our forefathers would be ashamed of us. Because when you go back, like I said, the last 60, 70, 80 years, look at the way they dressed. Look at the way they talked. Look at what they stood for. Look at the family structure. Look at the structure as a Black man. It was powerful. And I feel like we've lost our way. And so if you feel like that too, let's take Black History Month and let's use it as a month to get back on track and realize that, yes, you're a human being, but yes, you're also Black. And what you do does trickle down into our culture. And you making a little change can make a little change within the community as a whole. So I really want to shout that out and point that out. Can we still blame the white man in 2024? Can we? Now, some will say yes and some will say no. Before I give us our dose of accountability, I want to say that the way the system was set up in America, to a certain degree, you're going to always have to blame the white man or white America, because things were put in place long before us to make sure that we didn't get the things that we need and we deserve. So there's always going to be some unfairness to the situation that we have here in America. I don't think that it can be 100% fair. So I think when you look at our setbacks and where we are as a culture, you can't 100% put it on us. A lot of the blame does go on white America for doing what they've done. But at the same time, we have to take accountability for remaining where we are. So I want to play a clip for you guys, and you tell me what you think.
No, I don't blame the white man. I think he's smart. I think he's intelligent. Yeah, I think he's fucking intelligent. I would rather challenge him by doing what he's doing and competing. Because he came to steal the gold. He came to steal your diamonds. He didn't spend it for himself. He went and built a country with it. You are stealing the physical dollar and you're smoking crack with it. Accept the mistake. Because once you understand that it's a mistake, if we say 1 + 1 is 4, and you accept that it's a mistake, you're going to get it right the next time. And I think our people are refusing to accept the mistake that we are not investors, we're not buyers, we're not owners, we're borrowers, we're talkers, we're jealous people, but we have the most strength, we have the most talent, most minerals.
Okay, you guys get it. You guys hear it. And so I'm reacting to that clip because, again, systematically, we cannot go back in time. So I think there will always be an unfairness to the way the system is. But in 2024, we can no longer blame the white man. We can get housing. We can get loans. We can get businesses. We have access to higher education. But they're not going to give it to us. We have to take it. And that doesn't necessarily mean by violence, but if it leads to that, then so be it. I'm going to say it again. In 2024, we can no longer blame the white man. We can get housing. We can get loans. We can get businesses. And we can get access to higher education. So at some point, like that man was saying, we have to accept the mistakes that we have made as a culture. We have to. We put more emphasis on drama and relationships and sex and money, material things, instead of ownership, instead of entrepreneurship, instead of a solid family structure. And we are reaping the benefits, you get me, of what we've sowed. And the benefits they're not great. I wouldn't call them benefits, but this is where we are as a culture. So I think the first step is admitting that we have made mistakes. We have pushed promiscuity to our daughters, pushed violence to our sons, outside of what the system has already done. So we can't sit up here now and act like when we're the lowest class financially, when we're have some of the worst health, etc. We can't sit up here and act surprised or start pointing the finger. At some point, we have to look at it and be like, man, how did we play a part in that? We continued to put emphasis on these negative things within society, but it's like we cannot see the correlation to why we've ended up in a certain situation that we've ended up in. So we need to take more accountability if we want to get ahead. You cannot blame the white man no more. I could send my kid to the same school you send your kid to. The only difference is we need to start learning things at an earlier age. That's how we change shit. So we need to be 10 times harder on our kids than white people because we're trying to speed up the process. That's how we need to be thinking as black people. First, we need to admit that we've made mistakes. We're not borrowers, like he said. We're talkers. We're not doers. We need to accept that and admit it. Once we can do that, we can move on. We can start to heal and grow and learn. And the way we do that as black people is we start younger. Teach your kids about credit at a young age. Teach them about cashing checks and changing their tires and changing the oil and yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am. Teach respect. Teach responsibility. Teach discipline. However you figure out a way to give that to your child, do it. Because that's the way that us as black Americans are going to get ahead. There's no other way at this point. There's no more pointing your finger at the white guy and saying, well, he has everything and I don't, when we living in the same 2024. You know what I mean? And they're choosing to do with their money and you're choosing to do something else with your money. It's not their fault. You got to step up to the plate. We have to step up to the plate as black Americans. And it's hard. A lot of us as parents, as black parents, we weren't raised with the knowledge, with the, of financial stability. We weren't raised with the knowledge of credit. We weren't raised with the knowledge of a good family structure, et cetera. But that's no excuse. You 40 years old and your kid is 15 and you letting your kid run wild because of what? Well, I just don't know. I mean, I don't know what to do. You don't know how to teach. So you as the parent, you have to take some classes. Just because you're 40 don't mean you actually really grown. You got to take some classes. You got to read some books. You got to go watch some podcasts. Put some of this stuff into action so that you can teach your kid it. Otherwise, they're going to go learn whatever they're going to learn from somebody else that's not you. Black people, we have to start being that that godlike figure within our child's life if we want our children to succeed later on in life. That's how you change the black community. Teaching them things at a young early age. But the only way to do that is if you're taught, is if you're well-mannered. You know what I mean? Is if you're financially stable. And the only way you can do that is to stop pointing at the finger at the white man. That's the only way we could do it. Stop pointing your finger at the white man, roll your sleeves up, get to work. That's really what we have to do. Quick. I want to talk about a interview right now that's been popping. It's been hot. Y'all probably seen it. And Club Shay Shay does it again. Club Shay Shay does it again. He had an interview or a sit down with Monique, right? And they went through a whole bunch of shit. I want to break this interview down. This is kind of why I went quick on the other things, because this is what I really wanted the chunk of my show to be about, was this interview. So the first thing that they really touched on was Taraji P. Henson and her struggle with the color purple and Oprah. And I think that's interesting because everything Monique said, now that it's 2024, everything that Monique said, we killed her for it. We believed every rumor that people made up about her. Oh, she's hard to work with. Oh, she's unreasonable. Oh, she has an attitude. Whatever the case is, we believed it. We shunned her when she told us there were some unfair things going on within the industry for black women. Taraji P. Henson comes out, and now we're ready to hear the message from her. Why? I don't know. But I think everybody needs to issue an apology to Monique, because she really fell on the sword for Taraji P. Henson to have her moment. Let's be honest. Because now people are going back to Monique shit and saying, oh man, okay. But without that Monique, the conversation probably never gets opened up for Taraji. Taraji probably never feels powerful enough to say what she says. So shout out to Monique for that. And I think everybody owes her an apology. Second thing I want to talk about was Tyler Perry and Oprah. Tyler Perry lied on Monique, said she was hard to work with. He's the one who started the rumor, according to her. And again, the reason why I love the Monique interview more than the Cat Williams interview. And the reason why I love it more is because there was more validity to it. So Cat Williams came up there and he said a bunch of things, but we can't really fact check him, right? Monique came up there with receipts. She showed Shannon the call. She was giving us certain conversations. Cat didn't really give us any conversation that he had between anyone. Monique is. She's giving names of people who called, when they called, what was said, the last time she was contacted by him. So there's a lot of validity in this episode. And this episode really solidifies a lot of things that Kat said about the industry. And that was the thing that I liked about this interview even more, was that Kat came out, people thought he was crazy. But now, on the tail end of this Monique interview, how can you really say he's crazy? When you find out that Oprah has sort of blacklisted Monique, I mean, she was going to be in The Butler. They took that from her. She was going to be in another movie. They took that from her. She's supposed to be in Empire. They took that from her. Oprah was in the 2 roles she was supposed to be in. So when you start figuring out that, Oprah had her mom and dad and brother on that the brother that molested her. When you start looking at that, how could you not see the validity in these claims when you start piecing it together? The main thing, though, that I got from this interview was, man, black people, we gotta stop harming each other. Some of you black people go through the struggle, triumphs and tribulations, trials and tribulations, overcome every obstacle just to treat your fellow black people the same fucked up way you were treated when you got into the industry. That's what I don't understand. Oprah, you had articles saying that you left because you got paid less than other people. Now you try to silence Taraji when she says it? You try to silence Monique when she says it? Come on now. You're becoming the same thing that you were advocating against. And Oprah, if we're going to be honest, she's sort of a devil. You got the situation in Hawaii that she's tied into. You've got the Monique thing, multiple things with Monique. You got the thing with Taraji. Oprah is not anything she's cracked up to be. And well, how could you say that? You don't know her. Well, I don't know her. But we've seen on multiple occasions from multiple people how she's acted. We only know her from what we see on the TV. But what people are saying about her, her peers, is not good. And why in the community, when somebody reaches that status, they cannot be called out? Same thing with Tyler Perry. She has him on recording. We didn't hear it, but she has him on recording talking about, I shouldn't have made up that rumor about you. And we still hold him in high regards. And that's what you're seeing with Monique. It's so sad. And it speaks to how black women are treated in industries. Black women are getting paid less, right? They're doing just the same amount of work, and then they're getting less recognition. So I think everybody owes her an apology, man. Monique fell on a sword for a lot of these conversations to be happening, and now they are. Kevin Hart, for instance, with her. What did he do? That whole shit happens with her and Tyler Perry, Oprah. He says, you know what, Mo? I'm going to talk to Tyler. I'm going to straighten it out. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to produce a movie for you, executive produce. Okay, time to do it. And what happens? Her company she was supposed to work with, they get a call from Kevin's manager talking about, oh, he doesn't want anything to do with her. This is why I say don't follow people in Hollywood, because the superstar that you know, they have a handler. They have somebody that ultimately says, hey, you shouldn't do this. Kevin didn't call in to that company and say, hey, I don't want nothing to do with Monique. It was his manager that called in and made that decision for him. And then he was too cowardly enough to never speak on it again. Hollywood is crazy, bro, because you're making life-altering decisions and selfish decisions. That's really what it seems like it's all predicated on. You have to burn a bridge to keep your check. Kevin Hart could probably now never talk to Monique again, or if he does, he has to come to terms with the fact that he has to apologize and he fucked her over, or he just never talks to her again. He didn't take an L though. So I feel like a lot of this interview, that's what it showcased. It showcased that you have to burn bridges to stay alive in Hollywood. He probably wanted to help Monique, but he's got a handler. He has somebody who say, hey man, this isn't going to be good for you. So you're not going to do it. Not, I don't think you should do it. No, you're not going to. So with all the money and the notoriety and the fame, he still is answering to somebody else. Somebody else is still making decisions for this man. And ultimately he sits back and says, well, I don't care. If it burns a bridge, it burns a bridge. Fuck it. So that's what you're seeing. I also wanted to touch on, within this interview, Shannon Sharpe. Now, this is about the third groundbreaking interview that Shannon Sharpe has done over there at Club Shay Shay. And at first, and I don't want to say at first, because what I'll say is that I have mixed emotions about Shannon Sharpe. I think two things could be true. Those two things being, one, he's producing some groundbreaking content. For the naysayers that are saying, this is bullshit, go watch something else, more educational, etc., it doesn't take away from the fact that these types of interviews are groundbreaking. And the reason why they're groundbreaking is because they shift the public's opinion on Hollywood, on certain actors, on certain companies. And the reason why these companies and these higher ups want you to think these interviews aren't of value is so you don't remember it. Because if you remember the things that Monique say, if you remember the things that Cat Williams says within those interviews, you're going to look at Hollywood a little bit differently. You're not going to put as much stock in it. You might not watch as many movies. And therefore, the higher ups don't get paid. Whoever's in power doesn't get paid as much as they were. And so that's what I'll say about the interviews being groundbreaking. They are groundbreaking, regardless of what people are saying on the flip side. They are, because they're showing what's really going on behind closed doors. 10, 15 years ago, we didn't have actors and actresses and rappers and singers coming out and giving us the wrongdoings of their peers. We didn't have it. So the smoke and mirrors is fading. That's why this thing is groundbreaking. Now, why it's not groundbreaking, and my other thing that I feel like is true about Shannon Sharpe is he's becoming a hub for drama between the black community. I hate to say this, but Shannon Sharpe is starting to become a hub for messiness within the black community. He had Kevin Hart come up there. And, you know, a lot of what Kevin Hart said was facts, but he also said a lot of things within that interview that was just strictly, hey, let's call it what it is, man. You talk about niggas' wives. That's unnecessary information. We don't need that shit. Monique, same thing. So at what point do we look at Shannon Sharpe and say, okay, you supposedly don't want drama on your show, etc., but you keep having these people come out and give, you know what I mean, a tell-all on what's going on. So at what point do we say, okay, Shannon, we see what you're doing. You're trying to capitalize off of trauma within the black community. That's what I'm starting to feel about Shannon Sharpe. Because think about the Cat interview. Think about the Monique interview. It had no direction. Them interviews had no direction, man. They were literally started so they could come on there and just tell all, however they wanted to tell it for however long they wanted to tell it. I would say to Shannon Sharpe, you have to do a better job at leading the interviews and keeping it on track. Because it's starting to turn into a gossip session at the lunch table. And again, two things can be true. Just because something is gossip don't mean it ain't true. But what are we showing the people out there within our community? Like, how many of y'all watched the Vladimir Putin and Tucker Carlson interview? Not many, but we damn sure tuned into Monique. Right? So y'all let me know how y'all feel about Shannon Sharpe at this point. But I feel like he's starting to be messy because, again, it's not even only just a whole bunch of different groundbreaking interviews. It's people all within the same group. You got Kat talking about Tyler, and you got Monique talking about Tyler and Taraji and all the same people. So you kind of like within a mini family and just letting them each come on and air it out. So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually Shannon gets checked for something. Because on the flip side, he's doing us justice by giving us these interviews and, you know, we're getting an insider look on what's going on in Hollywood. But on the other side, it's like you are low-key just pushing out drama content. And I know you want better than that for your platform. I know you do. So that's kind of how I feel about that. And I'm going to put up a picture here. Was WALL-E the movie right? I don't know if you guys ever seen a Pixar movie by the name of WALL-E, but there's a scene in it towards the end, I believe, where you got a whole bunch of fat people on like hovercraft couches eating food. They got a stand. They don't even got to touch their phone. They just got glasses on. They're reading, getting food fed to them. They're 300 pounds. So was WALL-E right? Is that where America's headed? Is that where America already is? Check this out. The average American woman now weighs as much as a 1960s male. In 1960, the average woman was 5'3", 140 pounds. The average man was 5'8", 166. Fast forward 60 years later. Today, the average woman is 5'4", 171. She went from 140 to 171. That's a 30-pound jump. The average man is 5'9", 198 pounds. The healthy weight for somebody, a male who is 5'8", is supposed to be 165 pounds, which that's what we were in the 60s. But now look at us. With the advancement of technology, we have become way more unhealthy in ways that I don't think we can imagine. Our posture is super fucked up because of the computers we sit at, because of how we look at our phone and we slouch. Our eyes are getting fucked up because of the screen time. Our guts are getting fucked up because of all of the processed food. Was WALL-E right? I think so. I think WALL-E is 100% right in predicting the future. Now you have a whole bunch of sensitive people who are overweight, with no drive, no motivation, attached to their cell phone. Exactly what you saw in that movie. And now you have the new, coming out of Apple Pro. And you have Neuralink with Elon Musk. So all these advancements have made and are going to make people lazier than what they already are. So I think Wally was 100% correct. How do we get out of that? I don't know. Because we can sit up here and say, resist technology. But me being from Gen Z, being born in 97, I've gotten to see technology and everything, every piece of technology that's came out. At first, everybody says, this isn't going to last. We're going to resist this, etc. Just for 2 years down the line, it to be the norm. So I think the way we view technology as Americans and as humans, it's already embedded in us so deep to the point where we can't resist technology at this point. It is intertwined with human life. There's no way out of it. So I think it only gets worse. There only becomes more pollution. There only becomes more trash. There only becomes more obese people. There only becomes more people struggling for mental health. Because we have provided a getaway without actually getting away. You can put on your Apple eye gear and get away from life. You can get away from being a fat loser fuck. Because now you can control the world at your fingertips with these goggles on. You can get away from being a fucking depressed, you feel me, person who's on the brink of suicide. You can get away from that now because of technology. The only way humans are going to get better is if we face the music. And I think the further technology advances, the more we find it difficult to face the music. It becomes scarier. Because facing the music means you have to admit that something's wrong. We have to admit we have an ingredient problem within America, a genetically modified organism problem within America compared to other countries. We have to admit that we have a pharmaceutical problem, a drug problem within America. We have to admit that. We have to admit we have a weight problem within America, a mental health problem within America. But we don't admit it. All we do is keep advancing the technology in these fields. That's all we keep doing. And people keep going and buying and spending, meanwhile, never really being fulfilled within life. So I think Wally was 100% right. And shout out to Wally in that movie because it predicted a lot of things that are happening right now, as you see. 60-year-old OnlyFans model. I don't know if y'all seen that, and I'm going to put the picture up here. 60-year-old OnlyFans model come out, and she's bad, right? She's beautiful. I'm not taking nothing away from her. But a lot of people were like, wow, this is crazy. And I just want people to know that this is the future. Is she beautiful to look at? Of course. But 60 years old showing your body online to men of all ages is absurd. This is where women are in society, though. And you have to blame women, but you also have to blame men because men have created the market for this shit. Men are simps. Men are willing to pay $10 for pictures. And women are low enough to do it. What happened to the stay-at-home moms? Fuck that. What happened to even the women who did work and were bosses but still had respect for themselves, respect for men, respect for family? What happened to it? It seems like the more women advance, the more disrespectful they get. It seems like the more women advance, the more they want to shit on men and on the family structure and on society. It seems like they want nothing to do with the nuclear family. It seems like women want nothing to do with marriage, in relationships, in love. And I don't think men and women see how detrimental that is going to be to our society. When you have women like this woman who's 60 years old on OnlyFans, that is a point blank example of where we are headed down as a culture with relationships, with women, if this keeps up. It's ridiculous. There's no more dignity anymore because you can go get a bag. There's no more worry of even like, my mom might see this, my dad might see this, my son might see this. Oh, well, I'm making money. That's all that it is about. I feel like this 60-year-old OnlyFans model, it's a deeper conversation of women wanting a certain freedom that they're now coming into financially and society-wise, where they can be promiscuous and not get shit on for it. I think women want to be men very badly, to the point where I think they do things thinking that it puts them in the echelon of men, and it doesn't. Selling your body and fucking whoever you want, that doesn't make you a man. It just doesn't. Having 50 niggas doesn't make you a man, because y'all think niggas got 50 women. Doesn't make you a man. I wish women would stop trying to compete to be men and just be women. Be soft. Be loving. Be modest. You can flex if you want to, but know there's limitations and there's levels to it. We shouldn't have 60-year-old women in bikinis wanting to be an OnlyFans model. We shouldn't. We should have women passing down knowledge to their daughters and their sons and upholding the legacy of their families. That's what we should have women doing. Hey, as well as getting to the bag, but in a respectable manner. So that woman's 60 years old. I'm 26. Imagine when I'm 45 and 60 years old. Imagine what the 45 and 60-year-old women are going to be doing then. Just think about it. So this is the road we're heading down, and I really wish women would take a step back. And I'm not saying to judge these OnlyFans models or the 60-year-old OnlyFans model, but what I am saying is to look at it and think like, okay, she's getting a bag. Okay, she's popping. Okay, let's talk about respect, though. Let's talk about dignity. Let's talk about morals and standards. Does she have all that? I don't think so. Not if you're at 60. You 60 still trying to chase popularity and niggas in a bag? You didn't make it. You missed out. And more than likely you missed out because you were trying to be a man. And this is what I'm saying about, I hope women don't, even though it's already going that route, I hope women understand that a woman trying to chase being a man, by the time she gets 40, she's going to look back on life and would have wished she just played the woman role. Because I am a firm believer that chemically we're wired different. And I think women want certain things at a certain age. And so when you spend your 20s and your 30s and maybe some of your 40s trying to be a man, and then you hit that wall at 40 something, and now you have no kids. Now you have no meaningful relationship with the opposite sex. Things are going to start to get ugly. No matter what you say. Think about our grandmas. They were happy because they had 50 grandkids and nieces and nephews and uncles and this and that. When they got old, that's what mattered. But we're at a point, and women are at a point, where they've tried to chase being a man so much that they're not even going to have none of that left when they get 40 or 50. This society right now, currently, we have the most men and women dying alone. Because people are trying to chase shit, missing over all the important milestones in life just to get to 40, 50, hit the brick wall and realize none of that shit was worth it. You think the 60-year-old OnlyFans model at the end of the day is really happy with life because she might drive a G-Wagon and could go fuck an NBA player? Come on, women. Y'all got to do better than that. Don't miss out on some of the traditional things of being a woman trying to chase being a man. Don't do it. Because I can tell you what you're chasing is the toxic version of what a man is. It's not even what a real man is. So you're chasing that all while destroying your reputation as a woman, to then get up there, want those traditional things, but now nobody wants you because you use goods. Let's talk about the Putin-Tucker interview. I want to get on that. So Tucker Carlson went to Russia, sat down with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, and they talked about a lot of things. This interview was great because let's assume that everything Putin said was in good faith. This would really just solidify, I think, what a whole bunch of Americans have already felt and thought, that the U.S. is corrupt, that the U.S. is the starter of most of these conflicts, is the starter of most of these wars, is the starter of most of these negative things that go on in the world. I think most Americans are starting to wake up and realize that America is the big bad wolf in these other countries. And I think the Vladimir Putin interview just solidified that. If everything he said, was in good faith, then Russia has tried to connect with us on numerous terms, and we've denied it. Then you got to ask yourself why. Why would we not want to work with somebody and keep them as an enemy? Why? Because war breeds money. At the end of the day, that's what it does. Putin said, if America stops giving guns to Ukraine, the war will be over in a couple weeks. You think we're going to stop giving guns to them? Hell no. Because we like war. For whatever reason, it puts money in our pockets. It's all money motivated. That's all that this shit is. If you really think about the Ukraine versus Russia war, it's really Russia versus the US because we the ones supplying the guns. So we fighting them without fighting. And I don't understand it. What is the motivation? It's all money. So then you got to also ask yourself, living in America, as an American, are you okay with your country manipulating you in ways that you're not even necessarily privy to? Because if we would have never got the Putin interview, we would have still been thinking of Putin as a war criminal who, is heartless and cold and whatever the case is. We've seen him up on that interview with Tucker and said, okay, because there's two sides to every story. And that's why I shout out to Tucker Carlson, because that's what he's showing. He's showing the other side to the story outside of America that we don't get. Let's be honest right now. America is collapsing. We've got BRICS nation. They're trying to formulate currency and get off the US dollar. You have Saudi Arabia trading oil in Chinese currency. You have Putin coming out saying that 95% of the, things going on negatively are because of the CIA. The US did not want this interview to drop at all because there's some truth to it. I know Putin probably did some propaganda a little bit, but there's some truth to that. 100%. And what I find crazy is people were more consumed with the Monique interview. People were more consumed with the Cat Williams interview over Vladimir Putin and Tucker Carlson. Y'all would rather watch 3 hours of somebody expose actors and actresses instead of 3 hours of a actual president of the world expose the country you live in. Do you get what I'm saying here? Y'all would rather watch somebody expose some rappers and actors that you're never going to fucking meet, that is really never going to have any effect on your life. You'd rather watch that compared to a president of another country that is an enemy of us give his side of the story with facts. Nigga even gave us a history lesson in the beginning just to tie it all in. America is consumed by drama, consumed by gossip. And they love it that way because that's how they continue to play the big bad wolf without the people in their own country standing up and saying, yo, we don't want to be a part of this. We see you for what you are. So America loves when you're consumed with the Monique interview. America loves when you're consumed with the Cat Williams interview because you're not paying attention to Putin. You're not listening to what he's saying. We got to get out of that mindset. We are so comfortable that we don't even care. You know that Americans don't even care. We won't care about war until it's on our front lines, until it's at your downtown shopping center. Niggas is getting popped and dropped like flies. Then it'll be like, oh my God, let's care. Let's band together. Let's pray. Meanwhile, you have interviews like Tucker Putin where he's giving you information right then and there. He's showing you. America is choosing to remain the enemy. They're choosing to keep the war going. Under Joe Biden, by the way. So just ask yourself these questions and then ask yourself, why are you so consumed with drama? Think about it. It's because the higher ups, the government, that's what they want out of us. They don't want you to be put onto this shit. Anybody who hasn't seen Tucker and Putin interview yet, go watch it. It's great. It shows you what a lot of us already knew, which was the United States of America is not what it's cracked up to be. I think we have the greatest country when it comes to living, but I think we do the most dirty work. And hey, maybe that's the way it has to be. Because if we weren't the ones doing the dirty work, we would be the ones getting the dirty work done to us. And I think we have a hard time understanding that too. So maybe that's the way it has to be. But I think we should start looking at interviews like Tucker Putin and realizing, okay, we're responsible for some of these feuds continuing to go on. Why can't we compromise? Why do we always have to get the last word? Maybe things will be better if we did compromise. So with that being said, man, I'm going to close the interview out or interview. I'm going to close the episode out. Again, if you guys are watching this, please like, subscribe. Thank you for the love, for the hate. It's all support. This is Disorderly Konduct. I don't know where you're going, but you got to get the hell up out of here.